Hello there, this is Dana Arcuri, author, speaker, and wellness advocate, and today's topic is Ritalin Rage. And before I get into my own personal story and review of Ritalin, also known as methylphenidate, HCl, let's talk a little bit about what is Ritalin. So Ritalin is a class 2 controlled substance. It is in the strongest category of drugs sold legally. It's right up there with morphine. And as far as illegal drugs, it's pretty much in the same bracket as cocaine. Yeah, it's a pretty addictive substance, and we cannot think that we can be prescribed this medication without any potential harm, danger, withdrawals, or side effects. All right, so Ritalin is a stimulant medication. It is a central nervous system stimulant called an amphetamine. Most people who are prescribed this particular drug are dealing with different health issues, especially narcolepsy, ADHD, and also the ADD, which is the inattention. And so I'll go on to my story now. Many years ago, after my son, who was only 4 years old, was diagnosed with ADHD, and the doctor insisted he needed Ritalin, and we got him started on that particular medication, I started doing research about ADHD. One thing led to another, and I decided to start researching adults with ADHD. If you are a female, I highly recommend Sari Solden's book to do with females and attention deficit disorder. It was a light bulb moment for me, in which I realized I was never diagnosed, not as a child, not as a teen, not even as a young adult. It took me 30 plus years to finally come to the conclusion that I needed to get a diagnosis. And now I, look at things totally different. But at the time, I felt like I needed the diagnosis. So I ventured off to one particular mental health professional who did all kinds of testing. Of course, there is no blood work that can determine that someone has ADHD or ADD or what have you. But after some testing and talking and going through my medical history, I was diagnosed with ADHD. And of course, they handed me a prescription in which immediately I said, no thanks. So for the first few years, I decided to not go down that road, to just skip the whole thing with meds. But then I had family who insisted, you need a little Ritalin. Isn't that funny how we are coerced by family, by teachers, and by doctors to take Ritalin and other stimulant medications? I find it very interesting that people just believe that this drug is wonderful and that it comes with no dangers or no side effects. But nevertheless, I ended up getting a second opinion. Do I really have ADHD? And they confirmed yes. Off I went to another doctor, and he said, yes, I confirm, you have ADHD. So after 3 times getting diagnosed with ADHD, I came to the conclusion I probably did have it. And while I really was hoping I didn't, because it comes with a bunch of frustrating symptoms and can't stay on task, you're forgetful, the whole shiny ball kind of thing, you're distracted, you have poor memory loss. You can have challenges in relationships, academically challenges. As an adult, you can have challenges with jobs, with bosses, with finances, and with so many other different things. So I really didn't want ADHD, but it just became a part of my story and life. This led me to eventually say, okay, I think I will try Ritalin. So my doctor prescribed me Ritalin, and I began taking it and noticed right away I didn't feel like me anymore. I lost myself. I was a bubbly, happy person, very creative. I've always had this creative spirit, very intuitive kind of person. And I felt like I suddenly became very irritable, extremely moody. Then through a matter of days of taking Ritalin, I became hostile, aggressive, just downright mean, angry, enraged. I sincerely was not feeling well. So it wasn't just not feeling well emotionally, but even cognitively. I can't say that I felt like I had more focus. No, there was no improvement whatsoever in my concentration or my ability to stay on task. And what happened was it really blew out of control for that first week taking the Ritalin as prescribed, and it was a lower dose. I mean, hey, I was following my doctor's orders, but what happened was that my husband could see that I was no longer myself. He could see that there were some heavy duty side effects in which I was just a big ball of rage. I mean, let's just call it for what it is. I was not a happy person. I was not an easy person for others to be near, and I was not even a happy person around my own self. My husband just had a heart-to-heart talk with me, and he said, this is it. You need to stop this drug, but call your doctor, ask the physician if it's safe for you to stop taking it, get his opinion, check with him, and see what you can do. But I think that this drug is causing you a lot of problems, a lot of side effects, and you're not yourself. So I contacted my physician who said, it's okay, just stop the drug. Would you like another medication? And at the time I was like, no way. After this nightmare with Ritalin, I am not even remotely interested in starting another stimulant medication. So anyways, this went onward into my journey with ADHD. I'll share in other videos other medications like Vyvanse and Adderall and Strattera, but for now, let's focus on Ritalin. So I'm super disturbed because according to addictionresources.com, Ritalin comes with a variety of negative symptoms and side effects, and rage is just one of them. So let's talk about some side effects of Ritalin, which is methylphenidate. You may have nausea, vomiting, stomach pain, insomnia, nervousness, anxiety, weight loss, high blood pressure, increased heart rate, palpitations. You might have a headache. You might have dizziness. You might have a loss of libido. When we look at the more severe side effects, here they are. You may have an allergic reaction to Ritalin, an arrhythmia, rage with violent, explosive behavior. You may have a rash all over your body. You might all of a sudden be out of character. Your personality may change. You just may not be yourself anymore. You may have hallucinations, agitation, aggressive behavior, unexplained bruising, seizures. You may have inability to control your movements. You may have fainting. You may have stroke symptoms. You may have joint pain, sinus infection, liver problems, heart attack symptoms like pain in your left arm, sweating and breathing issues. It's not over yet, people. The list goes on. Let's talk a little about more severe side effects of Ritalin. You may have hair loss, vocal tics, black stool, blood in your urine. You may become addicted to Ritalin. You may have chest pains, and you may have fatalities. Yes. So it's really sad. In the research, there's nothing recent. There's this huge gap of time where there's no mention anywhere on the internet about deaths that are more recent. But if you start digging into way back, like 2006 and prior to that, there's a bunch of interesting articles on the internet about 50 plus fatalities from Ritalin. People just drop dead. They have a heart attack. Just like that, they're gone. So this is extremely concerning because there's so many people who are prescribed Ritalin or other forms of stimulant medications that are extremely dangerous, and they should be considered harmful. And we have to understand that every person will respond differently to Ritalin or other stimulant medications. We have to understand people metabolize Ritalin differently because we're all unique. We have different health concerns. We have different medical backgrounds and history. So we have to understand that just because hundreds and hundreds of people are having these horrific nightmare experiences with Ritalin, it doesn't mean that everyone will. I mean, there's good chances I'm going to get people leaving comments saying they're doing fine on Ritalin. What I'm going to say to you is just because right now, today, and this month, you may think you're fine with Ritalin, it doesn't mean that tomorrow, next month, next year, or decades down the road, you won't find out that you had some long-term damage to Ritalin. So what I found out that is also extremely distressing is according to studies by the American College of Neuropsychopharmacology, 4 to 7 million children are prescribed Ritalin. And they're saying that there is, and now that's just children, okay? God only knows how many adults are prescribed Ritalin. I'm sure it's thousands upon thousands, maybe millions, maybe billions. However, the very distressing part about Ritalin is that there's long-term brain damage from this toxic drug. So according to the study by the American College of Neuropsychopharmacology, they're stating that there is brain injuries from Ritalin, also known as methylphenidate. Now, of course, it's up to you if you choose to begin this medication or you choose to allow your children to start this medication. Understand that there are a lot of side effects I may not have even mentioned on this video, so it's really in your best interest to empower yourself, to educate yourself about all stimulant medications. Last, I want to just say this. I've been on a CBD oil journey for over 2 years, and what I've discovered is in the CBD industry, there are a lot of people, young and old, who are having awesome results, very effective results using CBD made from hemp, which is rich in omega-3 and 6. And they're having awesome results, especially those people who have been diagnosed with ADD and ADHD and other forms of different concerns, whether it's mental health, whether it's depression, anxiety, post-traumatic syndrome. There's so many different things going on with people, including chronic pain. And what I've read, what I've researched, what I'm experiencing myself is that we can have some marvelous breakthroughs in our health, including with our focus, our concentration, our memory, and our central nervous system, just really improving the entire wellness of our body and our brain, and that it could increase our quality of life. If you'd like to check out the CBD oil that I'm using, I can leave the link below. If you have questions, feel free to contact me at danaarcuri.com. And if you have ever used Ritalin, maybe a loved one, maybe a child, what have you, feel free to share with me your Ritalin experience. I'm quite interested if you've also had rage, hostility, changes in your behavior. How are you doing on Ritalin? Have you stopped the drug? Has it destroyed your life? Have you known anyone who lost their life to Ritalin? So this is something worth discussing. We need to keep these conversations open and look towards improving our health holistically and naturally. God bless.